This Saturday in Mexico City is more than just another date on the NASCAR calendar. It's a test of NASCAR's international ambitions like never before. For the first time, the Cup Series is holding a points race outside the US, turning the spotlight on the sport's ability to deliver a seamless, high-stakes event far from home. The doubleheader schedule, featuring both Xfinity and Cup cars on the same day, leaves teams with almost no margin for error. Daniel Suarez isn't just racing for a trophy, he's carrying the hopes of a nation. As he put it, "It has exceeded every single expectation that I have had. It has been a dream." But even before the engines fired, his team faced a major hurdle, a flight delay that left key crew members scrambling to catch up. And that was only the beginning. Behind the scenes, the journey to Mexico City was a logistical puzzle with thousands of moving parts. Every team knew the 2,000-mile trek would be tough, but for Trackhouse Racing, the stakes felt personal. This wasn't just about racing on foreign soil. It was about bringing specialized gear and key personnel crucial for setup, all to support Daniel Suarez's shot at making history in front of a home crowd. That's when things started to unravel. A delayed flight out of Charlotte left many Trackhouse crew members stranded, missing the opening practice session and throwing the team into a frantic scramble. This wasn't just about a few missing hands. It meant the people who handle critical data analysis and car adjustments were absent when every second counted. In NASCAR, practice time isn't just a warm-up. It's where teams dial in the car, test setups, and collect the data needed to compete on a technical road course, like Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Without engineers on site to analyze early lap data, Trackhouse risked missing out on crucial setup adjustments, leaving them at a disadvantage before the race weekend had even started. As soon as the delay hit, crew chief Matt Swiderski found himself shifting from race preparation to crisis management. Phones lit up, contingency plans were put to the test. The team worked with whatever equipment they had on hand, but the absence of their full staff meant decisions had to be made on the fly. How do you adjust your car's handling when the experts aren't there to interpret the numbers? How do you keep the driver focused when half the team is still unpacking bags and rushing through the paddock? The ripple effect was immediate. Trackhouse had to consider whether to rely on backup equipment, knowing it might compromise their performance, or wait it out and risk missing more valuable track time. The compressed timeline forced them to squeeze what should have been a day's worth of meticulous prep into just a few hours. And this wasn't happening in isolation. Other teams watched closely, aware that a single travel hiccup could just as easily derail their own weekends. The Mexico City experiment was already pushing everyone to their limits, and the weekend had barely started. But the real test was still ahead. The schedule itself was relentless, stacking practice, qualifying, and racing into a single day with almost no breathing room. For the teams, it wasn't just about overcoming travel headaches. It was about surviving a Saturday designed to push every limit, mechanical, strategic, and mental. The real challenge for teams in Mexico City isn't just the distance or the logistics. It's the relentless pace set by the Saturday schedule. From the moment Xfinity practice starts at 11:05 a.m., the day never lets up. Teams get less than an hour to shake down their cars before rolling straight into Xfinity qualifying at 12:10 p.m. There's barely time to regroup before Cup Series qualifying kicks off at 2:05 p.m. The Xfinity race follows at 4:30 p.m., and the NASCAR Mexico Series race is slotted for 7 p.m. Each session bleeds into the next, leaving teams with only minutes to solve problems that normally take hours. On a typical NASCAR weekend, teams spread practice, qualifying, and racing across several days. That means more time to diagnose issues, adjust setups, and strategize. Here, the compressed timeline means every mistake is magnified. If a driver damages the car in the short Xfinity practice, the crew isn't just under pressure, they're in crisis mode. There's no afternoon or evening to swap out parts or prep a backup. Miss qualifying and you're at the back of the grid. Or worse, not racing at all. Crew chiefs have to make impossible decisions before the car even leaves the garage. Do you tell your driver to push for every last fraction of a second, risking damage? Or do you play it safe and accept a mid-pack start, just to make sure you're in the race? The stakes get even higher when you consider the track itself. This 2.674-mile circuit with 17 turns demands a balance of horsepower and grip without adequate practice. That balance is hard to find. The long straights tip teams to chase top speed, but every lap also throws the cars into tight S's and slow corners that punish any setup that can't handle both. There's another layer to the challenge. Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez sits at 7,400 feet above sea level. At this altitude, engines lose power and aerodynamic balance shifts, magnifying the risk of setup misjudgments. Simulator data can help, but it can't fully replicate the thin air or the bumps and quirks of the real track surface. Tire management only adds to the tension. With just 6 sets available for Xfinity and another 6 for the Cup Series, including qualifying scups, teams have to think several moves ahead. Burn a set early for a fast qualifying run, and you might have nothing left for a late race charge. Hold back and you risk starting too far behind. Every lap on worn tires is a gamble, especially on a technical road course where grip matters as much as raw speed. The result is a ruthless, minute-by-minute gauntlet. Every decision about car setup, tire allocation, or risk management could pay off or blow up the entire weekend. Teams that adapt the fastest, that trust their data and instincts, will find themselves in the best position as the lights go out. But in this environment, one misstep can erase months of preparation. That's the reality facing every team. But for one driver, the pressure is even more intense. The next chapter belongs to Daniel Suarez, who carries not just his own ambitions, but the hopes of a nation and the expectations of an entire sport. There's a reason so much attention is focused on this weekend in Mexico City. It's not just another stop on the schedule. For NASCAR, this is the biggest international investment it has ever made. The organization is betting that a successful race here can unlock a new market, proving its business model works far beyond American borders. All eyes turn to Daniel Suarez, the only Mexican-born driver in the Cup Series field, who steps into a role that's bigger than racing. He's the centerpiece of this event, surrounded by family, friends, and a nation hoping to see one of their own succeed at the highest level. Suarez isn't just representing himself, he's become the face of NASCAR's international push, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Every move he makes is broadcast to millions, fans, sponsors, and media, all watching closely. The pressure is intense, and it's not just coming from the grandstands. Rivals openly admit they think twice about tangling with Suarez here, reflecting the home field respect he commands, with one saying, "You don't want to spin him out in front of this crowd." The paddock knows what's on the line, and so does Suarez. He's felt this intensity before, but not like this. The media attention, the fan expectations, the corporate spotlight, it all adds up. Suarez described the moment best. "It has exceeded every single expectation that I have had. It has been a dream." His teammate Ross Chastain has noticed a change too, saying Suarez's pride and focus are at another level for this race. Everywhere you look, the signs are clear. This homecoming is different. But Suarez isn't letting the pressure control him. His crew chief, Matt Swiderski, has worked with him to find a more balanced approach. In the past, Suarez sometimes let big weekends get to him, building them up until the pressure was almost too much. Now, they focus on taking things as they come, knowing not everything will go perfectly. Swiderski sees how Suarez has matured, learning to enjoy the moment instead of being crushed by it. And Suarez himself sums it up. "I love the pressure, you put me against the wall, and I'm gonna come back at you swinging." Even after his team's travel chaos, he stays upbeat. "I'm just enjoying, I'm like a kid on Christmas. That's why you guys see me with a smile." The stakes for NASCAR are just as high as they are for Suarez. Sunday's Cup race isn't just another event, it's the first time in modern history that a Cup Series points race is being held outside the United States. NASCAR is watching closely to see if the Mexico City experiment can deliver the excitement, attendance, and smooth execution needed to justify more races abroad. If things go well, it could open the door to a new era of international expansion. If not, it could stall the organization's ambitions for years. That's what makes this weekend such a pivotal moment. The travel headaches, the packed schedule, the media frenzy, none of it is accidental. It's the price of chasing something bigger. Whether this gamble pays off or not, one thing is certain, NASCAR's global future is being tested right here, right now. Instead, what's unfolding in Mexico City is both a logistical trial and a pivotal business experiment. The travel snags and the compressed schedule aren't just obstacles. They're the real-world test of NASCAR's readiness to operate on a truly global stage. This weekend isn't just about which driver takes the checkered flag. It's about whether the entire operation can function smoothly outside its comfort zone. Whether it proves visionary or overreaching, Mexico City will shape NASCAR's next decade abroad. If you want more breakdowns on how these high-pressure decisions drive the sports business, subscribe and stay tuned for deeper dives into the strategies behind the headlines.